So in today's lesson we are going to look at the long tail cast on using this yarn. I have it wound into a centre pull ball so you can pull from the centre like you can see. I'm just going to move this out of the way so I can clear some of the frame space. And because it's a long tail cast on, you're going to need, as the name would suggest, a long tail of yarn. So I'm just going to pull that out now. Probably just pull a few yards, maybe a couple of feet, just so you know you've got plenty. We're going to be casting on 20 stitches and we need to start with a slip knot. So I'll show you how to do that. You're going to take your right hand and cross the yarn over the yarn in your left hand. And then this piece of yarn we're just going to lay across the back of that loop we made and push it up through the loop and pull on the tail ends like so. What you want to be able to do is just to pull the yarn and adjust the size of the loop, and if you pull on both ends it should just pop out like that. I'll show you one more time. So with your right hand bring the yarn over and cross it over the yarn in your left hand. Take the yarn around the back of the loop, up through the loop and pull on the ends like so. So what we're going to do now is just insert the needle into the loop we've just created. To do the cast on we only use one needle, and if you just watch what I'm doing with the working yarn, if you pull on that you can just tighten it up to the needle a little bit more. So as you can see, what we've got now, we have the slip knot on the needle, which is our first stitch, the tail end of the yarn coming out on the left and the working yarn on the right. This is the setup we need to get started. So if you just pick up the needle in your right hand, and what you're going to do is lay the tail yarns, the two tails of yarn, over your fingers, and with your last three fingers you're going to grip the yarn and put your forefinger and thumb through that space, and you'll make a bit of a diamond shape as you can see. If you pull it down it makes a sort of double V shape, and what you're going to do is insert your needle under this strand of yarn here, and you're going to go through those two strands of yarn like so. As you can see it looks a little bit complicated, but that's fine. It will all make sense shortly. So what you want to do is anchor that stitch with your index finger of your right hand, and what we're going to do is take the needle around the strand of yarn over the index finger of the left hand. We're going to go around it and underneath it like so. So now you can see there's three strands of yarn crossing the needle, and what we're going to do is take the loop of yarn on our thumb over the tip of the needle, and we're going to take our thumb out of that loop like so. Then the strand of the yarn at the front, we're just going to tighten that up to the needle, so now you've got your two stitches on your needle. You don't want to tighten that too much, otherwise it'll be too hard to get your knitting needle into the space once you're knitting the stitches, but for now that's right. So what we're going to do is start again. We're going to grip those tails of yarn, put our index finger and thumb through the space, bring the needle down to make that double V shape, and go underneath this strand of yarn with our knitting needle like so. And again we're going to go around and underneath the strand of yarn on the index finger of your left hand. You can move your hand as well if it makes it easier. You don't have to keep everything stationary. And then just to anchor that stitch, and we're going to drop the loop on our thumb over the tip of the needle again. And then with our thumb we're going to take that front strand of yarn and just tighten the stitch up to the needle. Now we've got 3 stitches on the needle. So I'm just going to repeat this a couple more times to show you, and then I'll speed through because we need 20 stitches in total. So same process, we're going to put our index finger and thumb through, bring the yarn down, go under the strand of yarn on the thumb, around and under the strand of the yarn under the index finger, and take the loop on the thumb over the tip of the needle, drop it off and tighten the stitch up. Index finger and thumb to make the diamond, bring it down to make the double V, under the strand on the thumb, around and under the strand on the finger and drop the loop from the thumb over the tip of the needle and tighten it up. So now you've got 5 stitches on the needle. I'm just going to cast on one more stitch and then I'm going to speed everything up for you. What I would just like to say is if this is going too fast for you or you are struggling to follow it, you can always rewind the video and watch again. The best thing to do is pay attention to the shapes that I'm making with the yarn and the needle, because that's how you know that you're putting everything in the right place. But you can re-watch it. So now we've got the 6 stitches on the needle. What I'm going to do is just speed through the rest of the 14 stitches that we need, because we're going to need 20 in total, and then I will show you what that looks like and you can come back tomorrow for lesson 3. So now here I am with the 20 stitches cast onto my needle. This is what it should look like. You don't want them to be too tight, like I said, otherwise that will make lesson 3 very difficult. But this is what they should look like. If you turn them over, you will see it looks slightly different. But this is your 20 stitches, and when we start tomorrow, you will be turning it round and starting this way. So I will see you tomorrow for lesson 3.